At a butcher's stall, a feline without a home frequently appeared, imploring for morsels of meat. The butcher, after a while, would yield to her pleas and bestow her with some leftovers. Nonetheless, the cat declined to consume the food and would instead transport it somewhere else. Her destination remained enigmatic until individuals trailed her, and the discovery shattered their hearts. For the entirety of her existence, Freya was entrenched in the profession of butchery. Her ancestors, including her father and his father before him, had all been butchers for over 125 years. It was the family's legacy, and she cherished being a part of it. The family stall was located in a marketplace on the periphery of Baltimore. They had a devoted following of customers, with people journeying from all corners of the state to indulge in the array of products available on their stall. The meat sold at the stall was always fresh, and the cuts were impeccable. Freya made sure to maintain affordable prices to lure in a larger customer base. However, there was an unexpected visitor that Freya hadn't anticipated attracting, a feisty little cat. The stray cat would saunter up to the stall and jump onto the counter, which would prompt Freya to shoo it away, annoyed by the cat's audacity. Freya worried that the cat might pilfer some of the meat products and potentially contaminate them with dirt and fur. The cat itself was actually quite beautiful. It had piercing blue eyes and long ginger fur. It was fairly large and seemed very friendly and sociable. Had Freya met this gorgeous cat anywhere else, she would have adored spending some time petting it. But she had a stall to run and a business to keep going. She had no time to be playing with a cat, no matter how pretty and friendly it was. Every time she shooed away, it would retreat into the bushes on the other side of the street and disappear for several hours before returning again and trying to get Freya's attention. This routine would go on over and over, with the cat returning and begging for more scraps of meat, and Freya reluctantly chasing it off. She understood that it was a stray and probably starving, but she couldn't encourage it to come to her stall, begging for food and jumping up. What would the customers think? If word got out there that there was a cat crawling around on her meat, then her stall would be shut down in a heartbeat. It would just sit on the counter, staring at the meat. There were chicken breasts, racks of ribs, steaks, liver, lamb chops, pork fillets, sausages, bacon, every kind of meat that you can think of. A real buffet of meaty goodness, and the ginger cat would just sit and look at it all, seemingly hoping to be able to get its teeth into it. But as soon as Freya noticed, she would wave her arms and chase it off. She did find herself wondering if it managed to find some scraps of food somewhere, though. Freya wasn't heartless and did worry about the stray cat. It was a cruel world, and she believed that if someone needed help, then you should try to help them, no matter whether they're a cat, a dog, or a person. So, one day Freya found that she had some offcuts of meat that she was going to throw in the trash, but instead of doing so, she put them to one side and waited for the ginger cat to return. Sure enough, after a few hours, the cat turned up, but this time, instead of being shooed away, Freya tossed the meat to a few meters away from the stall. The cat pounced on it and started eating as the smiling stall owner watched on. After serving a customer, she looked across to see the cat had gone. Clearly it had enjoyed its meaty meal. So on this little routine went with Freya, saving scraps of meat off cuts that she would give to the cat. She would watch it eat, and eventually notice it wasn't there anymore, having devoured its full, and wandered off. It was a nice little compromise where Freya got to look after the beautiful stray cat while keeping it away from the meat stall. But Freya started to notice something strange. The long-haired ginger cat would only eat a small section of the meat before picking up the rest in its mouth and quickly running off. Freya found this quite weird, as she thought the cat would just wolf the food down there, and then she had never known a cat to start a tasty meal and then run off with the other half. It struck her as very odd. Freya might have forgotten about it if it was a once-off occasion, but it seemed that every time she would toss the cat some little morsels of food, it would only eat half before running off with the rest. And it wasn't just Freya that had noticed the strange habit. Regulars at the meat stall had also gotten to know the stray cat and found its behavior quite curious. Or was it taking the meat? What was it doing with the scraps? Why wasn't it just eating it all there, and then the answers would soon be revealed? And when people found out the real reason, it left them with their hearts broken. On one particular day, the market was fairly quiet. Freya was talking to 5 or 6 regulars that had stopped by for a quick chat, and that all noticed the long-haired ginger cat siding up to the stall. Freya continued talking as she scooped up the few odd scraps of meat from the counter and tossed them to the cat, but again, she only ate half. The small crowd watched as she picked up the rest in her mouth and headed off down the street, but curiosity got the better of them, and they decided that they wanted to find out where the beautiful animal was going and what it was doing with the food. Freya and the small group of people followed the fluffy ginger cat, being careful not to get too close or spook it. Perhaps it was squiring the food away to eat later, or maybe there was some adorable little kittens that she was taking care of. They followed her through the streets for 5 minutes until she turned down an alley with the meat still dangling from her mouth. Everyone stopped at the end of the alley and peered down and hoping to see the cat's destination, but what they saw broke their hearts and left Freya and the small crowd with tears in their eyes. Halfway down the quiet and abandoned alley was a pile of rubble. There was another ginger cat, this time with short hair that had his front leg pinned underneath one of the large concrete blocks. The long-haired cat had been begging for scraps of meat to take back to its trapped friend. The trapped cat wolfed down the scrap of meat his friend had brought him and returned to his laid position, his paws still trapped. The poor animal was clearly scared and in pain. The group feared it would slowly waste away if no one helped it, and so Freya stepped up to set it free. She slowly approached and stroked the panicked-looking trapped cat. Its leg was clearly broken, and there was dry blood mattered into its fur, but it seemed otherwise fairly healthy. She got hold of the cat so it couldn't run and lifted the concrete block from its leg. Rushing it to the vet, Freya found out that the short-haired stray had indeed broken its leg and got several other cuts in its struggle to try to get free. The ailing cat needed a considerable amount of care and affection during its recuperation. If there was no one willing to provide it with a home, the cat would undoubtedly be put down. Fortunately, Freya intervened and offered to take in the pitiful short-haired ginger cat. But that wasn't all. She also decided to adopt the long-haired stray cat who had been begging for scraps at her stall. It was evident that the two cats shared a special bond and were inseparable. Recognizing this, Freya decided to bring them both home, providing them with a secure, cheerful, and nurturing environment to flourish in. Freya not only ensured that the short-haired cat made a full recovery, but she also brought them a daily supply of meat scraps to relish. What is your opinion on this amazingly heartwarming story? If a cat came up to you begging for food, would you be inclined to feed it? And would you have adopted both cats if you were in the same situation as the woman? As always, we value your feedback and would love to hear your thoughts and perspectives on this topic. Kindly share your comments in the section provided below. I hope you liked this story. Please share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.